Yet, again, to be very practical and realistic, one could argue, and this is my opinion, and not just my opinion, but the opinion of many ulama, Ibn al-Qayyim is amongst them, that the sunnah, when it comes to dressing, is to accommodate the culture of your people as much as possible, as long as the Sharia allows you to do so. And that the Prophet ﷺ did not come with a fashion revolution. Think about it. No, I'm being dead serious here. He did not come with a fashion revolution. What was he wearing? Exactly what the pagans of Mecca were wearing. Exactly what Abu Jahl was wearing. Exactly what Utbah and Umayyah ibn Khalaf were wearing. Because that's the dominant culture of his times. So for somebody to come and codify one particular culture, the Prophet never saw the types of clothing that are common in many traditions. Even the thawb that we might think is the closest to the sunnah, you're really going to tell me this fine, fancy material with this fabric and this cufflinks and the perfectly tailored garment. You want to really follow the sunnah, go take some sheepskin and sew it together with rough, harsh wool. Right, go do some real, and the garment is going to be totally, that's the sunnah. But that's not the sunnah that our Prophet wanted us to follow. He didn't tell us dress like this or dress like that. And when you criticize wearing a thawb or kurta, which I do criticize, I say it is against the sunnah, to make it a point to wear a shalwar kameez in London when you think that this is more Islamic. If you just want to wear it for your own culture, of course it's halal. But you want to wear it to make a point of being more Islamic? No, Islam is not in the kurta. Islam is not in the thawb. Rather, you are sticking out for no reason. And our Prophet wanted to conform as much as possible so that there's some familiarity with the culture, right? I give examples of this, that when our Prophet would receive delegations from other places, the hadith say he would dress up in a Yemeni cloak. Who told him that wearing a Yemeni cloak was dressing up for 7th century Arabia? Did he invent this? Or was this the norms of his time, that if you want to dress up, you wear a cloak from Yemen? Of course, the answer to that, it was the norm of his time. That dressing up means you put on the Yemeni cloak. You have that shawl, that's a beautiful shawl from Yemen, and this is considered dressing up. In our times, it's not dressing in a Yemeni cloak, it's dressing in a suit. This is dressing up. So when he's giving da'wah to the delegations, he dress up. What is giving da'wah in our times? How are you going to bring about? So you see, here's the point. The more different you are, then when you come with a different theology, you're dismissed as being different. Whereas when you speak the same language, why did Allah send every prophet with the same language? When you dress in the same clothes, when you are a part of the society. And that's what Allah says, وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا وَلِمَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا. Their brother Hud, their brother Shu'aib went to them. It's somebody they know, somebody they can be familiar with. Then you come with a different religion and you're not that exotic. And this, in my opinion, is the goals of Islam. So when I come along and I say, in fact, clerics, especially when they stand in front of non-Muslim audiences, should dress up according to the standards of our times. Yes, people will attack and they say, look at this guy. He's still dressing in pant and shirt. What type of scholar is this? Right? When I make it a point not to wear a topi, and I don't typically wear a topi, even when I'm bald after Hajj, I don't typically wear a topi. Because in my humble opinion, covering the head is something completely cultural. Our Prophet did it, he never commanded people to do it. There's no authentic hadith that he commanded people to do it. This was the cultural norms. Pagan, Muslim, they all covered their heads. Just like 100 years ago in England and in America, all people covered their heads. Didn't they? All men covered their heads. That was what people did. It's a cultural thing. If you want to dress like that, fine. If you think it's Islamic, I think that's a problem in this land. Back home, that's another issue.